Yes, yes, yes. We're back. I'm here. Let's go. Nadine Abeng relationship coaching. You know what? This week I wanted to talk about your inner voice. Now, any of you who follow me on social media know that I've posted about your inner voice like earlier this month. But this is a new channel. You lot haven't heard me on YouTube. And nobody's heard me actually talk about it, and I actually quite like talking about inner voice. So here we go. That inner voice. Now, you know that chit chat's always there talking. Now, as far as your relationship is concerned, there's your inner voice popping up to tell you or remind you once again that annoying thing that's been happening. Okay, let me give you a really tangible example. You are the person who always changes the sheets. You always, every week, you are the one who chooses new sheets to put on your marital bed, make it all nice and, fresh and comfortable and nice smelling. And after a while, you're saying to yourself, you know what? I'm not the only one who sleeps in his bed, How comes I'm the only one changing the sheets and I'm not the only one who sleeps in his bed? But you don't get vexed up. You just say to your husband nicely, I'm not the only one who sleeps in this bed. Can you change the sheets sometimes? And he says, yeah, babes, like, no worries, I'll change the sheets. Sorry, I just didn't even think about it. You always get to it before me. And you're like, yeah, golden. And, it doesn't happen. Of course it doesn't happen. He says that and it doesn't happen. So the next time you're changing the sheets, again, here goes your inner voice. He hasn't done it. He said he was going to do it. Why hasn't he done it? How hard is it? What's going on? It's always me. We get into it. I know. I've been there. We've all been there. We get into it. Just moving the mic there. But what is the point of that? Seriously, your inner voice starting up, because it's not as if you didn't notice that you're the one changing the sheets. You know you're the one changing the sheets. You didn't need that voice carrying on, goading you inside, winding you up, making you feel worse about it. You didn't need that. So why did that inner voice pop up? Bottom line is, as humans, we like to have some semblance of control over the world. So we can't control what's happening in the outside world. That stuff, unless it's you doing the action, it's beyond your control. So how do we bring that into our realm of control? We use our inner voice. We recreate the world inside. Because when it's inside, everything is under our control, right? It's up to you, innit? So you can either use your inner voice then to get even more wound up and wound up and, annoyed. You can also use your inner voice to make yourself feel better. So you can be saying, oh, it's okay. I'm sure he's had a hard week. He's been really busy. Maybe, whatever. He did this other thing for me instead and let me be more grateful. There's all kinds of things. You can use your inner voice to control it and make yourself feel better. You can use your inner voice to wind yourself up and get more annoyed about it. But do you know what? Either way, it's still not in your control. So what you really want to be able to do is recognize that regardless of how you use your inner voice, it's still not in your control, not in the real world. Inside your head it might be, but in the real world it isn't. So what can you do about that? And I bet you thought I was going to tell you something that you can do about that. Do you know what? Nothing. You can't do anything about that. As much as you want to, you can't do anything about it at all. The only thing you can do about it is decide whether or not you're going to bug yourself about a thing that you can't control. So breathe in, smile, breathe out and let it go. Change the sheets. If you want to have the conversation with him, have the conversation with him. But don't have the conversation with him after your inner voice has wound you up. Have the conversation with him after you have breathed in, breathed out, and known it's not in your control. Because how much more calm and productive is that conversation going to be? And you're not going to be thinking, oh, he did it to wind me up. He wants me to be the one who... It's not going to be that. And even if when you talk to him and he says, oh, I forgot, that's all right. You're going to be like, this man loves me. He forgot. That's cool. I forget things all the time. You might say to him, actually it's not okay to keep forgetting because I feel like X, Y, and Z. But at the end of the day, here's what you've got. You've got perspective to have the conversation without it being a blame game, without it being he did you wrong, or without it being I'm doing all the work, I'm better, whatever. What you're having is like a rational conversation. So your inner voice, love you plenty, inner voice, but sometimes you actually need to just step off, step away. For me personally, what I try and do, I got this from Louise Hay. So what I try and do is just say, thank you. Next, please. Okay, I just let the thought go. So I see a thing that's annoyed me, a thing my husband hasn't done or has done or whatever, my children have done, my colleagues at work have done, the driver who cut me up on the road, whatever it is, I see it and I hear my voice start up, what about? And I go, yeah, thank you, next, please. And sometimes I have to say that several times. But I'm training my psyche, I'm training my inner voice about the kind of conversation I will entertain and the kind of conversation I won't entertain. And I am no longer entertaining the conversations that get me wound up. And I am no longer creating the fake calmness and acceptance by giving a reason for why something has happened. I am simply saying, that doesn't belong to me. I'm not owning it. I'm not wound up by it. Let it go. Thank you. Next, please. And then I deliberately choose to think something else that I want. So anyway, there you go. There's me rambling on because I love to talk about inner voice. But yeah, inner voice. Speak to you soon.